like obviously it's International Week, and we were kind of thinking about like reminiscing on the good days, like the classic football days, and the golden era of our clubs, and kind of when the rivalry was really at its peak, as opposed to right now. So like, I remember you were talking, Craig, about like one of your favorite Arsenal team goals, like before we started. Like, what would you say? What is that goal for those listening? And like, just talk us through why it's one of your favorites.
There's a goal that Jack Wilshere scored against Norwich. I think it was the 2013-14 season. Was it? Yeah, where he played. It was like, I think it was 5 or 6 passes. He played it. Ball came to. They played 1-2. Ball went to Giroud. Giroud flicked it, and then Jack Wilshere just passed it into the net. That was such a good individual team goal. There's loads of Arsenal goals that I love, but that was really a good team goal of that era. I think the one I loved as well was I'll give you my top 3. That one, and I said Thierry Henry's goal against Tottenham when he got the ball from his own half at Highbury, ran past the whole team, and he got the ball. Could have squared it to Bergkamp for a tap in, cut on and banged it with his left foot. That was a good goal. And I'll say the next goal, I would say it's not my favorite goal. Ian Wright's goal against Everton in the 90s when he flipped the ball over the guy's head. And then flicked it over him again. And then chipped the keeper in the top corner. Chipped it over Neville Southall. I thought that was a classic goal. But there's one more. I got to have one more. Dennis Bergkamp against Newcastle.
Oh, yeah.
That goal was disgusting. The way how he flicked him past the player. The ball went one way. The defender went the other way. And he just...
He danced around. Shay
him.
Given. He just danced around.
He made Shay Given look like an amateur goalkeeper.
I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I can appreciate that.
That goal was so classful. Oh my gosh, yeah. Those goals were amazing.
Well, what about for you, Matthew? What would you say is one of like your favorite like Chelsea goals looking back?
One of my favorites that straight away comes to mind was Essien against Arsenal at Stamford Bridge. I think you were winning for a long, long time. It was late and there was no kind of thinking process in his mind. He was like, I'm putting my foot through this, and what happens. The speed, the power, the run up, the curve. He's running towards it and he means business, and just the whip. And I think it was Martin Tyler goes, Essien! And Mourinho's doing the madness. He's doing a little jig on the side. I was doing a jig at home. It was just unbelievable. For 35 yards, Lehman's getting nowhere near it. No keeper in the world right mind is getting near it. It was just that's why I love this area, because it was like, I'm going to put my foot through it. This is it, and this is what's happening, and it's just encapsulate what's so good about. We scored some good goals that year. We scored some great goals. I remember we played a game against Everton, tough game. We went 2 goals down before, and all of our goals came from literally outside the box. Free kick from Ballack, typical screamer from Lampard, and Drogba straight down, right. It's very hard to score a 35-yard screamer that goes above the keeper's head and still into the goal. I think it was like one of the last kicks of the game. And I was freaking out because we went behind twice. It went 1-0, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 2-3. Absolute scenes in this game. And it's literally, again, just taking charge. Bang, bang, bang. Wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And another one, another Drogba one. It was as much as I do like the one against Arsenal, I'll feel his Liverpool one even more, just because it was Liverpool and we had a real intense rivalry with Liverpool. Just on the chest, turn, left foot, Reina, planted.
I remember that goal.
And Mourinho's like, oh my goodness. Speaking of Mourinho, one that flies under the radar when Mourinho first came was scored by Thiago against Man United, and he just let rip. I mean, that's Mourinho going. I mean, if Mourinho's gonna do a face like that, it must be good.
No, absolutely.
As you can probably tell, as much as you love a good technical goal, I do love a screamer. Absolutely love. I'm a sucker for a screamer. Oof, really.
I think for me, one of my favourite goals was scored by Robert Pires against Liverpool at Anfield. I think we'd won a throw. I think it was thrown. I know he played like a 1-touch 2 with Ali Adair outside the box, and he just took a touch created a little bit of space away from the defender and just bent it in to the goalkeeper's, I think it was Dudek, left-hand side of the goal.
Yeah.
So Perez's right-hand side, goalkeeper's left-hand side, and it just curled in. It's just a goal of beauty, and then just the celebration afterwards, because all running together in the rain up to the Liverpool fans, like, yeah, come on, we've arrived, and that was a brilliant goal. Definitely a goal for me that, like, I think that was one of the goals that sort of said this season Arsenal mean business, and of course we went that whole year unbeaten, and that was a game which was, I think, one of the pivotal games for us in the run. So of course we're talking about sort of classic throwback era football, the days when we didn't have to worry about how good our teams were in the happy days. So I guess for you, Craig, looking back, what's one of your favourite Arsenal squads?
There's so many. Or there's three. I think the team that won the league, the 97-98 team, that had the young Anelka, that had the Ian Wright coming towards the end of his career, Dennis Bergkamp, Overmars, they had Tony Adams at the back with Keown or Steve Bold. That back four, Winterburn, right back Lee Dixon, midfield Emmanuel Petit and Patrick Vieira. Right midfield you would have Parler. But Parler was more like he could play more of a sitting holding mid as well. So it's more like three in midfield. And then you have Lee Dixon bombing on. And then you have up front, you had Bergkamp on right or Anelka, and all the reserve players were good as well in that team. Yeah, Manninger came in for a while because Steven broke his finger. And then you had young Matthew Upson played as well, played a few games. You had Christopher Ray, a lot of people don't remember him. And you had Luis Boamote before he went to Fulham. And you had who else did we have in that season? Stephen Hughes. I don't remember Stephen Hughes.
Yeah, young Brit, yeah.
Stephen Hughes was a good player as well. Who else did we have that? Is there anybody else I missed out on? Oh yeah, Gilles Grimandi. And we had Remy Gard as well. Remy Gard. That era was a good era that won the league. Because that was the first of Arsene Wenger's reign winning a trophy. And I think he broke. And Man United were top of the table for a long time. And I think I remember the bookies said that Man United were going to win the league. No one's going to stop them. And when Arsenal turned it around and they went to Old Trafford, where they never beat United for a long time at their own ground, and we beat them. We beat them twice that season. We beat them at Highbury, and we beat them at Old Trafford. And I think that season was a statement that the title was not going to be going to United that season, and it was a good era. The 01-02 season was a good season as well. There was no more that season. We had Seaman in goal, right back was Lee Dixon and Lauren. Those alternated. Tony Adams, and we had Sol Campbell, or sometimes it'd be Keown and Campbell. Left back was Ashley Cole. Midfield we had Edu or Parler and Vieira. We had players like Perez, Lundberg, Henry, Bergkamp, Carnu, Wooltord. We had a good all-round team. That team was a very good team as well.
And for you, Matthew, what would you say is one of your favourite Chelsea era teams?
Gotta be the special ones. Mourinho first came on, made that iconic speech after winning with Porto Champions League. I'm not of the bottle, I am the special one. And as well, he proved that in that very first season. I think we literally only lost one game the whole entire time. But just bringing the kind of star quality that he bought like, so when that Roman bought Mourinho, he got in Drogba, he got in Mattia Kezman, he got in...
Kezman was a flop though.
Kezman flopped.
I liked him at PSV. You know what? He was one of my favourite strikers at the time before he came to Chelsea, because at PSV I was like, this guy he just scores for fun.
He had a good reputation, but whatever it was, it just didn't work. But that's the thing, we brought over a guy like him who flopped and we were still okay. We still had Drogba, we still had Idago Johnson, who I don't think gets talked about enough in some places. Just a hard working player who just dedicated to the team. We've also brought in Makaleli. We had Jeremy, a young Petr Cech, before he started breaking all those records, as well as the well-established team that we had before certain players came in. Just a strong unit. I remember before when I just got Sky TV, every weekend we're scoring 2, 3, 4 goals plus for nothing. And bear in mind, this was the era when you were just gone invincible, won the title. So when people say we bought our way towards the title, we kind of did. In a way, we kind of did, but we still had to have the nous and the know-how, because we still managed to go to Highbury and not get beat. We came away with some sort of result. We had to work for it still, but we got away with some kind of result. And it was just utterly ruthless in a way. We just performed, putting teams just to the sword, shooting from outside the box with no abandon, or working our way in, robbing on the wings. We knew when it was robbing time, coming down those wings. You knew only one thing was happening. Only one thing was ever happening. Lampard was our top scorer. Drogba was only started getting to get. Drogba was still feeling himself at the time. For years to come, we know the good striker was coming to be. And that game at Bolton, that famous game at Bolton, I remember at the time I was either watching that or Doctor Who, and I was like flicking the brother, flick, which sounds insane. I was like flick. They were like yeah. Remember that on that really small TV. It was just, and we won it with like games to spare. Which, as a Chelsea fan at the time, I wasn't necessarily used to. I was always either Man United or at the time Arsenal, who were going ahead for the title. We were getting there. We were just getting there. The previous year, I mean, you ran away, but it just showed the intent of things to come, possibly. And I think that even that previous year, we got to a Champions League semi-final. So it wasn't all in all. I don't think it was too much of a bad season. But yeah, I think the special ones definitely sticks out. Got to go back to the beginning. Always got a reference. Another team I absolutely love was the team of Ancelotti in 09-10, mostly because it was a title race that went down to the absolute wire, and we were scoring again like it was no tomorrow, like scoring goals before having breakfast. The players we had in this team that could come up with a goal, the likes of Drogba, the likes of Malouda, the likes of Lampard, the likes of Anelka, the likes of Ballack, the likes of Solomon Kalou, who was again another good workhorse for the team, who would just come out, who could deputise if, say, one of those Drogba wasn't playing, he'd come in, step in against a game like Sunderland and still have an absolute blast of a match. He had that staunch defence of Terry, Carvalho, Zhirkov, Petr Cech in goal. We had that spine. We had the absolute perfect spine of Drogba, Lampard, Terry and Cech, and for so many years just being one of the most dominant forces of the Premier League, when we were always part of a championship conversation. We had a firm spot on the table. And again, the way that we kind of conducted that, this is why I love that, because it was a title race that made me fall in love with it as well, because it went down to the wire. Man United were, I think, a point behind us. It was like on goal difference. And we knew what we had to do. I think we were playing Wigan. I was sitting there watching, just like, this could still go either way. And I remember, I don't know what I was worried about, 8-0. What more? Why was I really, really worried? But I think if I take off the rose-tinted spectacles for just a moment, I would say this team was better than the specials. If both teams were playing, remember at the time, this was Drogba in his prime. This is prime Drogba coming up to what we win in the Champions League. I think it's mighty close. Mighty close. I think Ancelotti's 9-10 team just edge the specials. But only just. And I probably might die on that sword, to be honest, but I think it's mighty close. But what about that would be? What about that would be if that was ever possible? Another team, I think, if we're talking from that specific era, again, sticking in that. I mean, if we're going to talk outside the era, another good team was when Mourinho returned. We won the league in 2015. I thought that another fantastic team, and the way acquisitions. I think one good acquisition was Fabregas. That was a fantastic acquisition to the club, and he slotted in beautifully to Mourinho's system. We had the likes of Hazard, we had the likes of Oscar, Diego Costa. Drogba came back, and even after losing players like De Bruyne and Mata, which still kind of irked me at the time, we had players like Courtois come in, deputising goals. We had two world-class keepers in Courtois and Cech at the time. Terry was still there. I think we just lost Lampard. Just our standpoint. So even to still win the league after losing such key players in the spine just shows how strong we were. Those are 3 teams that Premier League winning teams clearly. That if we're sticking to Premier League, those 3 stick out most of all. I think my favourite would be 09-10.
09-10. I think that's a good interesting mix of teams. I think for me, looking back through Arsenal squads, I think there's 3 in particular that stand out a lot for me. So 97, 98, same as what Craig said, just because of the speed of football, the counter attack, the pace at which things were played at, just the rate. Some of the goals were just ridiculous. The way how the team would go from one end of the pitch to the other.
Henry versus United.
No, this is 97, 98. So this is Anelka. This is that team. That's my first one. My second favorite team, I'm gonna give it to the Invincibles squad, because again, I think going the whole season unbeaten, the football we played, just being and also the sad side of it, like being unlucky in Europe and just not getting the extra mile to win it and bring it home. I think that was the year Arsenal should have won across the board and had a clean sweep, because the squad was that good.
Undisputed.
Even that semi-final against Chelsea, both legs, some of the football on display. I am reading a book about the Invincibles, and it was talking about that game and Arsene Wenger's his perspective on everything. And it just got to a point where, as a coach, there's nothing more you can do. You have to just sit down and watch. What more can you tell the players? They're doing everything you've told them to do. It's just not working. Like some of the football we were playing, the combination plays, the 1-2, the chance, it was just unbelievable. Just the goals weren't there. So that's my second favorite. And my favorite team in the Emirates era is the 07-08 team. For me, we play to this day. I still think that is probably the best Arsenal team that hasn't won a trophy, that should have won a trophy of any of the squads we put together in the modern era. For me, because that team had everything. The midfield of Rosicky, Kleb, Fabregas, Flamini, and all 4 had a bet on who's going to score the most goals. Up front, you had Adebayor and Van Persie. And then I guess for context for that squad, for anyone who doesn't really know, like that summer Thierry Henry left. So we had a massive vacuum in the squad. No one was really sure how the players were going to step up. And we had a young team, and it was just flowing. The football we were playing was just unbelievable. We were passing teams off the park. Some of the goals we were scoring goals for fun. Theo Walcott was having a field day. Van Persie was having a field day. Adebayor looked like a world beater. And then Eduardo got his leg snapped, and it all kind of fell apart. So that's kind of how that era kind of ended, and that squad is still one of my personal favourites. And of course, throughout this whole time period, we had the famous or the infamous Wenger-Mourinho battles. The one that really stands, that really hurts the most is the Wenger's, I think it's his 1000th game in charge, the battle at the bridge, and the 6-3?
6-0.
6-0. Oh, we didn't even score. The 6-0 annihilation. Over to you, Craig, and thinking about the sort of classic battles between Mourinho and Wenger, like what for you made that the era of those two managers going head to head? What really made it special for you?
Well, you could see that when Mourinho came to the Premier League, it kind of irked Wenger. It's like when him and Ferguson used to clash a lot when he first came to England. I think he had that next rivalry with Mourinho because he saw him as he said it was a special one. Obviously, he won trophies at Porto. He won the Champions League. He came to Chelsea. He wasn't like a quiet, humble guy. He was very arrogant. I won the Champions League. I'm the special one. And Wenger was looking like, I don't know. What should I do? And when they played the first game, I think the first game they played was, I think it was 1-2-2.
Highbury.
Yeah, it was 2-2 at Highbury. When Van Persie had that goal, was chalked off offside when it was onside. That was an onside goal. I'll never forget that game. That game should have been 3-2 to us. That was a legit goal. And then
good game though.
It was a good game. End to end. I remember Henry scored the goal against Czech when someone played. I think Reyes played to him.
So when it was like the ball was like long ball up. Henry heads it down to Reyes. Reyes heads it back to Henry. And then Henry takes a chest
and banged it past Czech.
Bang.
That goal was amazing. And I think and the free kick as well, he scored against Czech as well.
Yeah, that quick.
That was a good game.
Is that?
I think that season. What cost us that season, why we didn't win the league, was because Chelsea were very good. and there's certain games we should have lost. What we lost, we should have won. Certain games we drew, and we should have won as well. I think that cost us in there. But Chelsea, they were a good team. They had Robin. They had Damien Duff. Everyone keeps on forgetting about Damien Duff, but that team with Damien Duff and Robin in the team, that was just pace.com.
Damien Duff.
Oh my gosh, he was a good player for them, and they had Joe Cole. Everyone forgets about Joe Cole as well.
Young Joe Cole.
Joe Cole was a good player for them.
And Mourinho didn't like him.
Did he not?
He didn't fancy him very much, which would seem quite bizarre for such a good player that he is. You find that Mourinho does it sometimes, where you have a really good player, but for whatever kind of reason, Mourinho just does not fancy him. Joe Cole was, but when Joe Cole played, he performed absolute out of his skin. Like at the point to prove. Like I think, like you said before, the kind of that harsh treatment. Certain players thrive, I think, in some kind of way, and some of the goals that Joe Cole scored and some of the assists that he gave, and just by sheer performance and efforts that he had, I think Joe Cole kind of did thrive from it a little bit. I think he did. I think, and it doesn't surprise me that when he left, I think Joe Cole started to get a little bit more minutes. A little bit more minutes, and he scored a great goal against. Was it Man United? Yeah, he scored a great goal against Man United.
When he turned Rio Ferdinand inside out, I remember
it's always
that goal.
good. It's always
turned
good
him inside out and then banged it past Chet. I was like,
you'll never know, especially during that era, how good it felt to score a goal against Man United. It just better than Christmas. Oh, better than Christmas.
I think the Mourinho Wenger thing. I think when Mourinho called Wenger a specialist in failure, that hurt. I think that's when Wenger he got heated. And there's one game when Chelsea played when Arsenal played Chelsea at Stamford Bridge, and I think Wenger pushed Mourinho.
Yeah, that was the 1,000.
Yeah, that was the
1,000 game.
That was the one.
He pushed Mourinho. I thought they were gonna scrap. I thought they were gonna fight. And I don't know what happened. I think Mourinho was getting heated. Wenger was already heated.
Could you imagine if it actually started coming to blows? Could you imagine? Wow.
I mean, I think that whole saga just shows how far, in terms of like things were at the club, like just how bad it got. Because for Wenger to resort to that, you know that okay, things are really bad if he feels like I need to get physical, or even the threat of being physical. Like it's crazy. But yeah, we definitely played some good games. Definitely had some great moments, and obviously Mourinho coming to the league changed things a lot. Made it became a big four. I guess it became a big four in a way.
In a way, yeah.
And you know we had many of our little title battles and title rivalries. I mean, you've already said the winning squads that you liked the most. For you, what was it about Mourinho when he first came in that you were just like, okay, this is really interesting as a fan?
Because it's like he's standing up to the establishment in a way for a very long time, for deserved reasons, for squads and the history that they have and the effort that they had. It was always a case of Arsenal, Manchester United, in some cases Liverpool. So Chelsea were, I think we talked about this before, especially in the 90s, we were coming. We were just a few players short, a few like managers short. We kind of swapped around managers at the time, but we were getting there. When Roman came, and particularly when Mourinho came, that's when the change fully kind of followed suit. Because unlike before, I feel like there was a mutual respect between the stalwarts of Mourinho and Ferguson. Wenger and Ferguson. Sorry, Wenger and Ferguson. Mourinho didn't work like that, and like Craig said, he came with a kind of, you can call it arrogance, I call it confidence. It's confidence when you can back out, prove that I can do certain things. I mean, the fact that he won Champions League with Porto says it all, really. And it's almost as if he's like breaking into that new club of like, oh, it's a new face in here. Let's see how he does. I don't know how he rubbed up with Fergie, but I know he rubbed up Wenger the wrong way. And like you said, it took a long time for things to eventually get physical. To the point, I mean, you never ever see Wenger do something like that. He's always so cool, so measured, so calm. They called him Le Professor, but Mourinho got properly under his skin, because it's almost as if he's the opposite of what Wenger represents. Wenger didn't necessarily go for big, massive signings. He's always go for good players, but paying at not much of a high price to find, proving that you don't need to pay big, massive price to find a quality player. Whereas with Mourinho, he comes in and goes, I want this, this, and this, or this is not going to work. His demands are very clear from the get-go. And it kind of changed the... I mean, do I want to make us responsible for the way football is right now? For the big money signings and bringing it in and winning the trophies? Possibly. Am I mad about it? No, because it works. So, on you. Whatever. Fight me on it. Fine. If it weren't working, I'd say something. But it is working, so... And it's still working. So I think he just got under his skin. The specialists in failure, the fact that he did not beat Mourinho for years, took him a long time to beat him. Eventually, I think he just wound him up. And if you got to be a certain kind of man to wind up Wenger, really, really do. And I think it's just almost like a lack of respect. Like you just come in with all your bravado and your millions, and it's like, I don't care about you, whatever. I don't care. This league is done. Things are gonna change around here. So, but it produced such fantastic moments, fantastic discussions, great games that we would win, games that you would win. You doing the way with your technical style of football, us just coming with a bulldozer and just steamrolling the lot. I do miss those kind of battles. I really do miss that kind of to and fro that we used to have, and especially like the energy of young Mourinho. I mean, the arrogance, the bravado, the suits, literally getting the paper, going straight to the back page. What has this guy said next? What has this guy said next? Some of the analogies he had back then was his energy back then was something else, and I think speaking from my team's perspective, it's almost something that. It's just something that the Premier League needed. That kind of injection of I don't know, like not va-va-voom, but something. It needed that kind of like that adrenaline in a way to kind of spark that spark the rivalry, you know. So yeah, I think he just ran Mourinho up.
No, he definitely did, and he certainly knew what buttons to push in the press conferences and how to get the right response. I mean, I guess for you, Craig, thinking about the rivalry between Wenger and Mourinho, like what would you say, looking back on it, like what would you say, like as a fan looking back on it, was like a moment that really stands out for you?
Stands out for me, like
just in the clashes between the two teams when Mourinho and Wenger were both managing.
Whenever Chelsea were playing Arsenal and Mourinho versus Wenger was happening, what I remember was that the whole week it would be all in the front page of the news, it would be on Sky, it would be all over talking about the game, and it wouldn't be talking about the players, it would talk about the managers. The manager was the hot topic at the time. It wasn't about the teams, it was just about the managers. Is Wenger gonna get his first win over Mourinho? Is Mourinho gonna beat Wenger again? It was like a boxing match, like watching two heavyweights. They just didn't like each other, just wanted to kill each other in the ring. It was like that. And it was like, it was very intriguing to see. It was intriguing to see because you always used to think, maybe if Wenger wins today, he'll get the better of Mourinho, or if Mourinho wins again. It was a psychological battle. And I think Wenger, Mourinho was very good at mind games as well. He knew how to wind managers up. And I think he always knew how to wind Wenger up. Some of the things he used to say about Wenger is to wind them up, and Wenger should have been more reserved and said, okay, I'm trying to use that as an advantage to motivate the players to win the game. But I think it had a negative effect on him because every time we played Chelsea when Mourinho was in charge, we always seemed to lose against them. So I think maybe if Wenger used reverse psychology on Mourinho, then maybe, yeah.
I think he tried to on some of the press conferences. I think he tried to definitely throw him off the scent. I can remember a few games and we said certain players weren't fit to play, and then we knew they were gonna, and then they were all of a sudden in the starting line. I think, okay. So I think he tried a couple of times to just kind of throw him off, but Mourinho is a master at mind games. Like I think he lives for it.
He
loves it.
He loves to just be that guy.
But I think the thing, because he worked with Sir Bobby Robson, he was a good manager as well. So he worked with the best of the best before he became a manager himself. So he knew, and he before he was a manager, he was a translator plus. He knew all the best players. He knew how to. He knew he was a good like student of the game before becoming a manager. So
yeah, I think the environments he worked in, I think being around big characters, big personalities, you'd see how different managers do the job. And you
him.
find a style that works best for you. And I think also him not being a player, him not being at a level like that, it's different. So you can kind of understand that sort of frustration of, I wish I could have made it in that field. And you can put that into your work. And I think he did a brilliant job of how he would motivate his players, the little games he would play with them. I mean, definitely the siege mentality, the us against the world thing, where you know, especially when you were going through like losing runs or a couple games don't go your way, he was very good at being able to deflect attention away from. Well, I mean, sometimes you'd prefer a player under the bus every now and again. Yeah. But when it was time to make sure the referees need to be pointed out about something, he would let it be known. Oh, yeah. And of course, when he left you guys, went over to Spain, to Madrid, he played that game to a T. He just made sure, just put the pressure on the officials and not my own boys, and that definitely worked out for him. Yeah, I mean, I guess looking back, we've had some great teams. We've had some amazing kind of runs and stuff. Like, what would you say is one of your favorite Chelsea games of the past for you, Matthew?
Oh, in the Premier League?
It's entirely up to you.
One of my favorite games, and it wasn't just so much the game, but it was the day that stuck out. One of my favorite ever games was a Champions League tie between Chelsea and Liverpool when the rivalry was fierce.
Is this the Phantom goal game?
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
That riled me up hard. I was an angry child about that after that goal. No, this was a 4-4 draw at Stamford Bridge, and it stuck out to me for many, many reasons. It was the game, it was the day, it was the venue, it was the weather, all culminated to how the game panned out. So for context, I was going to the pub and the queue was mad long. So much so that I missed the 2 goals that were just scored by Liverpool. And it was chucking it down, but I'm like, I'm sticking with this. I am going in and I'm going to make it. I get in, I think at halftime, I think we were still down, or I think we scored 1 goal. I can't remember. But I just remember the utter chaos in this game. Defense was just non-existent. We're just going to shoot, kick the ball, and it's going to go into the goal. Every time a midfielder or forward kicked the ball, it went into the goal. And just the bizarre angles some of these goals went in just boggles. No amount of science can explain this. How is it? I mean, towards the end, towards like the line where the goal is, on the line on the side, like it's going for a corner. How Drogba was able to squeeze a ball through there, I don't know. Ryan Babel scores a goal that Czech should save. How is that going in? Lampard scores a screamer from... He scores a screamer with his right foot in the left-hand corner. How is this possible? But it was just the sheer amount of, we are going to outdo you on every single level. You score 1, I score 1. We score 1, maybe we let you score 1, just to amp up the atmosphere. And eventually I went into the pub nice and dry. I mean, I lost my voice the next day for the amount of screaming I was doing, good and bad. I was praising the players, I was cussing the players. Probably some players weren't even blooming there. It was just the day and the result. In the end, the result was fair purely for the fact that the defense took a complete abandon. But so much energy, so much passion. It was incredible. Absolutely incredible that day. So that sticks out as one of my favorite ever games. Another favorite of mine, I had it in my head. You know what it was? It was a set of games where we were scoring 6 or 7 goals. And I think we did that in like 3 games in a row, where we were just literally scoring goals for like, I don't know why the other team turned up. We scored just 5, 6, 7. Boom, boom, boom. Done. Easy. Ruthless. Don't care. Done. Chelsea approach. Ruthless aggression. Absolutely fantastic. But yeah, ultimate favourite's got to be that 4-4. Champions League quarter. It was a quarter final as well. It was a quarter final, so it just shows you the determination that we had. Oh, excellent time.
I think for me, I'm going to pick a bit of a random one because I can think of games from the past that I really, really liked. But the one that really stands out for me is actually a more recent game. Mm-hmm. So FA Cup final was Arsenal-Chelsea. The FA Cup final, which had a goal from Ramsey, a goal from Lexus, and Costa got the goal in between to level it up, and then Ramsey got his typical Wembley goal. Yeah. The reason for me that game stands out is I was away in Copenhagen, and I sort of planned my day to go to this like really famous pub over there that does like sports games. So I managed to I contacted them beforehand to make sure they were showing the game. They were. So I got in to the pub and it was filled up with Arsenal fans because Arsenal have like a massive following in Denmark. So like going over there, a lot of Arsenal fans were all in the pub. The absolute scenes when Ramsey scores. I mean, you hear limbs. We were like, I was dancing with people. We were doing proper circles. We were like, one guy got picked up. I was getting crowd surfed through the pub. It was crazy. Like, I was just like, this is unreal. And then when it was the full-time whistle, we're all singing. We're all singing all the Arsenal songs and they know them all word for word. We go out into the street. We're singing in the street of Copenhagen. Some people, they went out. They're like, right, we're going out now, clubbing to celebrate. That to me was one of my favorite games because that's one of the first times I like wasn't able to, like, especially for our cup final. I wouldn't normally want to be away for a final. I wouldn't want to be in another country, much less not like watching it with friends and stuff. But to watch that game, just the atmosphere everyone made in the pub, just that feeling of, I mean, when it went to 1-1, like it was tense. It wasn't long. It was a couple minutes until Ramsey got the winner, but it was tense. Like we were like, oh, it's Costa. Oh, here we go again. That was the feeling you had in the pub. Even people like pointing at the TV screen. What's wrong with it? Clear the ball. What are you doing? It was crazy. And then Ramsey scored. Even one person actually went outside. Yeah, one person left the room, went outside, right? And they heard, go! And they ran back in. What did I miss? Go! Jumping up and down. And it was pandemonium.
It must be absolutely mad.
So that was definitely my absolute favorite because like you just can't, that atmosphere, that really, feeling, that release of like, wow.
Atmosphere adds. That's what it is. Sometimes it's where you are because you probably didn't expect that. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I missed the game. I was at a festival, and by the time I found out the result, I was already half on my way home. I'm thinking like, because I thought this 2-0, whatever. I went home and saw the highlights tonight. Also, so that's what happened, right? Whatever. But yeah, I think you're right. Atmosphere where you are, sometimes who you with, really does amp up, especially when the result goes your way.
No, absolutely.
Especially when the result goes your way, I think it really does. Because as much as I want to say, like, you know, what was it? The 6-0 game, I think I was at home by myself. So I had no one to rub it into. I was like, yeah! Apart from maybe my dog, who probably didn't know what's going on. I was like, yeah! Fine. But atmosphere, definitely. And the reason why it's good to have the fans back, it just means so much.
And what about you, Craig? What would you say is one of your favourite games of the past?
I would say the Arsenal 3-2 against Man United in 97-98 season. Because every season we played United, they always seem to beat us. And that season we beat them. That kind of gave us the confidence to win the league that season. I think the goal that I really loved was the Vieira goal when he smashed it and went hit the underside of the crossbar and dipped in and it went in. And then when Anelka scored, and no one didn't know about Anelka then, but after that game, everyone knew who Anelka was after that. And then when I think United scored 2 goals to make it 2-2, Sheringham scored 2 goals, and then David Platt in the last minute, like, I think it was like going towards the end of the game, just came with the header, boom. That was it. I was like, yes, we're gonna do something this season. So I'll say that game was a great game. Trying to think of another game. What's another game that was a good game that we were? I'll say the Arsenal-Chelsea game as well. When we beat them 3-2 at Stamford Bridge, when Winterburn scored that screamer.
Yeah.
That screamer. That's the season we won the league as well. When I think it was when the ball came out from 30, I think it was like 30 yards out, he just hit it and it just went right at the top corner. Like, wow.
There's something about a shot when you catch it sweet.
Especially
and
on the
you
left
just
foot.
know, you just know this is going places.
And that left foot shot, like, just went straight. Players with left feet who can shoot with their left foot. Oh my!
It's come to a point where you see a goal like that, no matter if it's against your team, you have to sit back and be like,
you just have to give them a slap.
How? It's just the how, and then the anger comes in later, and you're like, that was a good goal as well. Sometimes you just have to sit back and wonder and just be like, fine, have it.
I think that's the way. I mean, I think that's the beauty of some of like the older games and some of the goals that we've seen our team score. It's just they just bring back these real feel good feelings, and they're just so great. And I guess one of the things, like looking at that kind of classic era and some of those squads and comparing them against Okay, let's do this to start off with. So you mentioned your 3 favorite Chelsea squads, those 3 different eras. Putting them in today's Premier League, where would they finish?
Dang. Oh, that's difficult because the game's moved on a lot. It's become quicker. It's becoming more intricate, more technical, and even like your smaller clubs like your Leicesters, Leeds, Evertons, Wolves, Brightons, who play a good style of football, have wised up. I still... Okay, so the most modern team was the 14-15 Mourinho when Mourinho returned. Mm-hmm. I can see that team finishing...
And your current team is not there. So they're replacing your current team.
Oh.
We're doing that first. Dang, then we'll do the other part after.
Okay, all right. Oh.
So you're swapping current Chelsea for the classic Chelsea. Where would they finish in the league?
The classic Chelsea will... 14-15, I think would... I don't know if they win. I think they probably scrape the top 4. At a squeeze. It'd be very, very tight. 4-5. The one that didn't really...
It's a hard one, isn't it? It's a hard one.
It's hard. The only one I really got... the only one I've got mad confidence in even close to winning the league is still 9-10. I only want... Just because we had goals literally coming from everywhere in the team. Midfield... if our part of the midfield got knocked out, another one would come in. Same thing with our strikers. If Drogba weren't there, another came in. If Delco weren't there, Kalu would come in. Kalu would come in. You know, I think of all the teams to win the league, it would be that team. I think the Centurions. The Specials would be in the top 4, second or third, just for the sheer brute strength of it all. And we had some pacey players like your Duffs, like your Coles, like your Robbins, I think, and Lampard, and players like Lampard and Drogba were only going to get better. And 14, 15... You know what? No, I think all of them would get them to the top 4, but only one of them is going to win. And I'm sticking with 9-10. Just because I think they could adapt quite well. And with Ancelotti was good at adapting. He's adapted to pretty much anywhere he's gone to. So, yeah... I think the 5th lowest. Okay. I can see 5th lowest because that high standard that we had. So that's what I'm going to say. Yeah, I'm going to stick with that.
Okay. And for you, Craig, where would you put your chosen favourite Arsenal teams? You know, where would they land? Where would they finish in the current Premier League table?
Well, the 97-98 team will definitely win the league. With that team, that pace, that defence, that goalkeeper, that back 4, will definitely win the league. The 2001-2 season, I think they'll win the league as well. That team had pace, it had everything. But that was the other one I chose. I think the Invincible team would win the league again as well. All 3 of my teams will win the league because they were that good.
Even in this climate?
Yeah. The 97-98 team had pace, they had physicality.
They were wicked. They could
imagine Overmars against Aaron from Norwich. I think he'll go past him. He'll definitely just go past him. I think I'd love to have seen like an Onyu versus a Van Dijk. I think Onyu would have got a better Van Dijk. I think so. It would have been a battle, yeah. I think he would have got the better of him.
Gundogan versus Tony Adams.
Tony Adams would have had him. Tony Adams was next level physical. I would want to mess with him at the back. Nigel Winterburn or Ashley Cole versus Ashley Cole. Yeah, definitely.
That's so bizarre. That is actually so true. Oh, I'd love to see Drogba versus Van Dijk or Drogba versus Laporte.
Drogba has Laporte for breakfast. I want to see Drogba versus Van Dijk. I think that would be one heck of a battle opportunity.
Both of them at their peak as well. Both of them at their peak.
Oh,
Van Dijk before the knee injury and Drogba when he became the Drogba we all knew and loved.
Yeah.
I would say who else? I'd love to see even Seaman. I think Seaman would be a good goalkeeper in this era because he was good at sweeping. He was good at penalty saves.
Was he good at passing though?
Yeah, he was good at passing.
He's a good shot stopper.
He was a good shot
Good
stopper.
shot stopper. But and I think that's how you said the keepers now have got to be good with their feet.
I think Vieira would have been good in this era now.
Vieira can play in any era.
Vieira can play any.
Petit,
Let's be
Petit,
real.
imagine Petit and Vieira in that midfield now with the team that we got now, the current team we got now.
Oh, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
Just imagine.
That's not our conversation. We're not trying to pick pieces from
but
teams.
I think my honest opinion, I think the team that I picked, the three teams that I talked about, the areas, I think all three of them would have won the league. Of the way how they played, technically good, physically strong, and they had a good back four.
The mentality,
the winning mentality. Yeah,
I think of mine. I think the Invincibles. The only thing I'd say is that the points gap now, like the point totals that these teams are putting out now to win the title, is way more than what our team. I think one of your teams came close to getting that kind of like.
We were very, very close. I think that might have been the specials. I think we only lost one game.
Yeah, so I think
we were close to repeating it.
So I think the points totals is different. Like even the Invincibles, they drew a lot of games. So if you're going to put them into this era, those would have to be wins to win the title. So I think it'll be very close. I'd say Invincibles would win it. I think the 97, 98, I'd say if they don't win it, it will be very close. Like maybe a couple of games. It'll be like 3 to 6 point gap. Like, yeah, between no more than 3 or 6 points
It's not
gap
going to be like
between
anything.
winning.
It's not going to be anything above 5.
No. And then the 07, 08, top 4. It's not winning.
Firmly top 4.
Top 4. Because we didn't win it. We should have done it. So top 4.
Should
So that was the first question. Like, how would they fare in the current era, replacing the current teams? My next question, of course, is if you had to play a one-off game, you've got to pick one of your squads to face the current team. What would be the score? Who'd be man of the match? And I'm going to start with you, Craig, on this one. Because it's a hard one. It should be easy for you, though. So you got to pick one squad.
Yeah.
You got to say the score. And you got to pick your man of the match.
That's my team.
I mean, you got to pick. You got to choose one of your squads from one era to go up against the current team. And who's going to be the top? What's going to be the result? And who's going to win the match?
Okay, so 97, 98, 02, 01, 01, 02, or 03, 04. You know what, yeah? Because I like because the 98. I said I'm going to choose the 97, 98 team because that team with pace, it had everything: pace, strength at the back. They could defend that back five. You wouldn't want to play against that back five.
Okay.
So I'll say that back five was that team.
What would be the score?
I'll say 3-0.
And who'd be the man of the match? 3-0 score. Who's the goal scorer? Who's man of the match?
Anelka, Overmars, and Bergkamp.
Okay. And your man of the match?
It'd be the defender, Tony Adams. He would show that he'll win. He would stop them from scoring. He'll be barking at the defender not to concede any goals. And he was in prime that season. He was in prime form as well, top form.
Okay. Over to you, Matthew. Classic Chelsea versus modern Chelsea. That's a hard one. You got to pick your best squad, and you got to decide what the score will be, and who's going to man the match.
That's tough because I had two teams. I had one team. I was like, I'm gonna stick with this one. Oh, but I could also go for that one. Oh no. You know what? I've talked a lot about the specials. I talked a lot about 9 and 10. Do you know what? Purely just to balance it out, I'm gonna give them a bit of a chance. And because I did actually really like the squads, really strong squad, I'm gonna go with the 14 and 15. I think it's gonna be really intriguing to see how this team would pan out, because there are kind of. This was when Hazard was getting to the high levels. He was getting better. He had Fabregas come in, who just slotted into the team. You had the physicality of someone like Diego Costa. You had, like we have now, two really good keepers in Cech and Courtois. And I want to talk about this guy because I think he's really underrated for the work that he did. I'm going to talk about Ramirez. Our number 7 before Kante, proper box to box man, absolute workhorse, scored pivotal important goals in our Champions League and league runs. Whether obviously Kante is a better player, but I just think it was good. We had a good. He did good for the time that he was there when we brought him over. I think that battle would be so intriguing because it's kind of different. They both got mad energy. They're both box to box, but whereas that Brazilian side in Ramirez is always going to come out. Kante's like he doesn't work of two people. So that's going to see that contrast of them coming together. And then there's purely what Tuchel's done with our defense now, bringing back the fact that we don't concede many goals and just how physical our front line was with someone like Diego Costa, where when Drogba did come back very briefly for that year, the physicality against our defence are now a very strong defence with likes of Rudiger, Azpilicueta, Christensen and Thiago Silva. I think that's going to be... I don't think many would think of that, and that's kind of why I'm going for it, because I think it's the least obvious of our title-winning sides. And bar the fact that this team hasn't won a title yet, but we won a Champions League, so naturally we could probably go on and progress to win the title as well. Scoreline. I think for the sake of energy, I could see the more modern team winning. I really can see. But I don't think it'd be easy. I think it'd be like a 2-0, 2-1. And I think man of the match would be... I'm going to say... Who would man of the match be? So tricky. Because man of the match could be on a losing team as well. Really could. I'm going to say Edouard Mendy.
Okay.
I'm going to say Mendy because he came in like how Cech came in. He was almost quite unknown, just kind of like toward the tail end of a transfer window. But over time, he just kind of commanded that box. And the one thing I love about this guy is that he properly commands his box. He bellows at his defenders for when they don't do something, which is what Kepa is missing. Just unbelievable saves, keeping the team in the game. I think he's Champions League goalie of the year as well in his first season. I think it would be him. It's taken me a long time to kind of think about it. I could obviously give it to someone like Kante or to someone like Hazard, but no, I'm going to go for the beaten track. I think Mendy would be man of the match. I could see a 2-0 or even a 2-1. Just keep him in that game. I really can see that. I think that'd be such a fascinating thing to see.
I think for me, I'm going to make it... I'm going for the entertainment factor.
Yeah.
So I'm picking the 07-08 squad. Mainly because, again, for me, it's still one of my favourite footballing teams Arsenal have put out that have just not won anything. So I'm going for that team against the current team. I'm going for I think the current squad will get at least a goal. Because at the back there was William Gallas, Toure. You had... did you have Sanya or was it Abue at right back at that time?
I think it was Abue.
Abue and Clichy. So you're going to get an opportunity down the wings. In goal, we had Almunia. I think Lehman was being phased out. Yeah. So I think they'll get a chance. I'll go for a 4-1 to the 07-08 squad. Man of the match, Cesc Fabregas.
Oh, he was...
I'm going to get 2 for... I'll spread the goals around. I'll get Fabregas will get 1, 2 for Adebayor, 1 for Van Persie.
Seems fair enough.
And yeah, I just think that team. And then Aubameyang will pull one back it'll be 4-0. And because the thing with that team is they got a bit complacent, so it'll be 4-0. And then Aubameyang will pull one back as a consolation goal.
Sounds about it. Seems right, yeah.
But yeah, because I just don't see the modern team being able to beat that squad. Because I think that's the weakest of... Compared to the other two, the Invincibles should just walk them off the park.
Yeah.
And the 97-98 team should just blow them away. So, I think the 98, the 07-08 will be a very good, evenly matched battle between the two of them.
That was a good team, and that was a really good team as well.
Very, very fun team.
Really good team.
So, I guess looking forward to, taking a step away from the past and jumping forward to the present. Of course, we've got brand new games coming up this weekend. I'm going to be there in person for Norwich Arsenal. I don't know why. I do not know why. But the opportunity presented itself, and I thought, let me go down and cheer the boys on and offer my support. For you, looking forward to the game at the weekend, how are you expecting the result to go for you, for Chelsea?
I do think we'll win, but I don't think it's going to be easy. Villa have been a bit of a sticky side for us of late. I don't think we beat them at all last year. And they've spent the Jack Grealish money really, really well. So by signing especially signing players like Buendia and particularly Danny Ings, they've still got, I mean, Martinez is coming. Is he coming back from the international break? He'll be back, won't he?
Yeah, he should be.
He should be
unless
back.
he has to quarantine, so I'm not sure if they have to.
Yeah, we'll keep a proviso on that one. I mean, but they've made their intentions very, very clear to improve on their last year's finish. They're a thorny side. Oh yeah, and like Ollie Watkins on the other side as well. Can't forget about that. And the players that already have. I think we will win. I would not be surprised if they do score, but it could be a narrow victory or a shock draw. But I can see something like a 2-0. I can see a 2-0. Havertz, Lukaku if he's fit, maybe 2-0, 2-1. I can see.
And for you, Craig, what are you? Okay, what are you hoping for the game against Norwich at the Emirates, and what are you expecting? Let's start with your hope first.
I just want goals and win. I just want to win.
How many goals are you hoping for?
4 or 5. I'm being greedy. We need to boost our confidence. We need to get our goals up. So 4 or 5 would be nice.
Okay. And what are you expecting?
Maybe like a 2-1 win or something like that, or 3-1. Because we are gonna, the way our defense at the moment, we are gonna concede. So we have to score more than the other team at the moment. So hopefully a 3-1 win would be nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping this game is a statement made by the team, because the way how both Arteta and Edu have spoken in the past week, and I really respected Edu for coming forward and kind of explaining Arsenal's transfer strategy, explaining the business, kind of giving more of a picture behind the project and why we've made the moves we've made. I don't agree with all the decisions they made this summer, but I do understand I get the vision that they're moving with, and I can kind of get behind it to an extent. For me, this game is like, okay, our season starts now, effectively, and this is the game when they need to make a statement. For me, I want to see goals. No, okay, so my order of priorities from this match, I want to see chances created, and by that I don't mean Tierney whipping the crosses in to no one who's going to head it. I want to see genuine chances created at a good number for a team with Arsenal's aspirations. That's the first thing. The second thing I want to see some semblance of good football. I'm not talking champagne Wenger football, but I want to see us get the ball from the back to the front quicker than, there's that meme of that snail from Munster University, which is like, it started with, he's like, it's the first day of uni and he's running, and the movie ends and he just makes it to the class and he's late and the term's over. So we want to see a bit more speed and pace in how Arsenal progress the ball, and I want to see goals, because I feel like in as much as Arteta has had to do a lot of work in kind of changing the culture and getting rid of some of the older players who probably don't fit what they want to do, and it's been difficult. Obviously, they've had to make, obviously this summer, I guess the decisions made on the players, I don't know if he's 100% on board with it, but they had to make some concessions in what we did. Fine. But the players, the profiles we've signed, they are the profiles you want. So I want to see you utilize them and use them in the way you say you want to use them. Because if you don't, as I said in the previous podcast, in my view, you're on borrowed time. The club may feel otherwise. And the fact that the Arsenal-Chelsea game went on to general sale, again, I will reiterate that you could buy, like normally as a member, you can only buy one ticket. Sometimes you may be able to get two, depending on the competition. For a Premier League game, I could have gotten 6 tickets. In fact, I put 6 tickets in my cart.
For Arsenal-Chelsea?
For Arsenal-Chelsea, I could have got 6. It was not cheap, but I could have got 6 tickets. That, to me, and that says everything. There was a lot of empty seats. A lot. So, for me, the fans are clearly voting with their feet. Even for this game on the weekend, there's a lot of tickets available still. They haven't done the same, as far as I've checked, that to make it open to everyone. But there's a lot of seats available. Fans are not excited about the club. So you need to win them back. And if you can't, fair enough, we need to move on. So that's my big thing. And yeah, let's see what happens this season. I guess the other thing as well, of course, West Ham are doing really well. So I think we'll probably expect... Who have West Ham got this weekend? Do we know?
I don't actually... Why have I got Southampton in my head? I'm probably wrong. I know I'm wrong.
I think they got.
I don't think it's a London club. No,
They got Man United. I think. If I'm correct.
no, it's Man United got Newcastle.
No, man, they got Who was they got?
Liverpool got Leeds. We've got Villa. You got Norwich. Is it?
West Ham have Southampton away.
That was a game.
Southampton away. Yeah, so the games coming up this weekend. We've got Palace Spurs. So let's run through the games and what we're expecting. So we'll start with you, Matthew. Palace Spurs, home win, away win. Palace are at home. And that's the early kickoff on 12:30.
I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for a draw. I think since after the first game with Chelsea, I think Patrick is starting. Those young, exciting players are starting to see what he wants. And I think they got a good draw. And they got a good draw against West Ham anyway. And the run that Tottenham have, they've been doing well, but their squad is still quite paper thin. And I just think if Crystal Palace had come up with that energy that they have, I think is Eze back yet, or is he?
I don't think he's back yet. No, he's
not
going to be
back
back for
He's back soon though.
soon. Oh, that's good.
I can see a draw. 0-0, 1-1. I can see a draw.
Over to you, Craig. Brentford, Brighton. Brentford are at home. What are you expecting?
Brentford. It's going to be a close. Maybe a 2-1, 2 or 3-1.
Okay. Back to you, Matthew. Got Leicester, Man City. Leicester at home.
There's no Edison, just to let you guys know. You're being banned.
All the Brazilian players are not available. Well, not all of them. The ones that didn't. I don't really get why the Brazilian FA have decided not to include those players. But all the players that refused to go for national team duty this past game week, a game that was abandoned between Argentina and Brazil. But that's a whole different mess up there. And it's just not going to get into that today. So they've all been banned from this game week of fixtures, so none of them can play and be selected. That's Alisson, Ederson. That is Fabinho, Jesus,
Silva.
Thiago Silva. Is there anyone else?
Any Brazilian players?
Firmino. And
Yeah,
Fabinho. So both of them. Yeah.
Some quite important players.
Crazy.
Quite important players. I think even without those players.
Bearing in mind, Man City's their backup goalkeeper Stefan is out with COVID, so Scott Carson will have to start.
That changes things slightly.
A lot.
That changes things a lot. I think, I don't know, Leicester aren't the kind of team to, take things lying down. I wouldn't be shocked if Leicester pick up a cheeky 2-1, 1-0. I don't think it to be a massive scoreline, but then again, it's also City. But I'm going to go bold. I'm going to go for Leicester 1-0.
Okay.
Why not?
And then we've got Man United, Newcastle at Old Trafford. Cristiano Ronaldo's return. I'm guessing you're seeing a 3-point for United there. Do you think Ronaldo will score?
If he starts, yeah.
Do you know what? Wouldn't it be funny if Newcastle just spoiled the party and Joe Willock wins it for them?
That'd be
A
so
cheeky
good.
a cheeky 1-0.
It was so
funny.
good. It was so funny.
Oh my goodness!
But I can't see that happening.
So
though.
funny. We can live in hope.
Man United are too strong now. They got a strong team. Now.
But but then they struggled in the last game.
They struggled against Wolves and Southampton.
They struggled. The Southampton 1-1 in particular. That says that there's something there that they're missing. Maybe Ronaldo will provide that now, but there's something missing in how they're playing.
And Wolves were just desperately unlucky.
Wolves need a clinical finisher in Torora. If he could finish, he could have beat. They would have beaten United that game. I was watching the game. I was getting frustrated just watching it. I'm like, come on, put your foot on the goal, come on. That's how I was feeling.
Could you imagine?
My heart was like, come on, man.
If he could finish with that pace and that,
He could bag at least 20, 30 goals a season if he could finish.
Oh my goodness, Traore. Oh please do.
So our last two fixtures to go through, because of course we've already covered the Chelsea and Arsenal ones. So we got Southampton, West Ham at Southampton. So Matthew, what are you expecting there?
I expect a West Ham win, but Southampton are funny like that. It wouldn't be surprised. I still don't even see him winning, but I do see him scoring. If it's like a 3-1, Southampton will score. But I can see West Ham win.
And the last game, actually, it's not the last game of the weekend. Hold on, we've got Sunday fixture. Okay, so 3 more games to go. So we've got Watford, Wolves. What are you expecting?
Watford
Watford win.
The reason why, because I think Watford have got better finishes in their squad than compared to Wolves, and I think Watford are on the up. I know they lost their last game, or they lost one of their games this season, but I think they won the first game against Aston Villa. No one thought they'd beat Villa, so yeah.
Okay, and then of course on Sunday we've got Leeds Liverpool.
This is gonna be a fan. If it's
And
anything
it's at Ellen Road.
If it's anything like last year, I remember the game at Anfield. I remember that was a very tight affair. If it's anything like that, I know Van Dijk's back, but if Alisson's not coming back, this could be a much tighter game. And they haven't got Firmino. They don't have Firmino or Fabinho.
It's gonna be. It's kind of set for Leeds to do a surprise.
And with the addition of Dan James, who matches Leeds' philosophy of pace, and chaos, and Leeds just kind of find a way. I think they scored against all the big teams last year. They found a way around. Don't be surprised if you see a cheeky Leeds win. I don't think they will win, but don't be surprised if you do see. I'm gonna go in my heart. I'm gonna say Leeds win. I'm gonna say a Leeds win. I don't know the scoreline, but I think Leeds will win.
I think it's going to be a tight, close game, and it maybe in for a shock. Then again, Liverpool, they had their ambitions for this season. They may just find what they need to get that performance.
Crazy ambitions.
And lastly, but not least, Monday Night Football. We've got Everton, Burnley at Goodison Park.
Home win.
I didn't
even have to even say it anymore. Home win. Like Everton are no. To be fair, Everton are in good form. They got some good players. Demarai Gray's on form. I don't know if Calvert-Lewin's fit.
Richarlison will not be available.
Well, he got.
Oh, because was he banned?
But Calvert-Lewin's still there.
I think he's injured. He withdrew from the England squad. So I don't know
he did. Yes, he did.
He broke his toe.
James Rodriguez might get a chance. James will get a chance.
He hardly played this season.
He's hardly played.
Yeah.
Maybe come with a goal. Box to box, man. That'd be good. But
no, not banned because I think he went.
So he might, if he quarantined on time, he should be able to play. He might play up front. And they got that guy Rondon. They got Rondon, so he could play up front if Calvert-Lewin's injured.
Good little signing, you know.
He's a good player.
So it should be interesting.
Got some ambitious guesses there or predictions, but you know.
So we'll see how it goes. And we'll comment on that in our next episode. Thanks again, guys, for being here. Another one kick from Glory special. We're going to have another special coming up very soon. That one is going to be a specific focus on Arsenal. We're going to do a deep dive on where it's all gone wrong, and is Arteta the man to right the ship? We won't give our answers about that right now.
Nah.
I've made my opinion very clear. I need not say more. But, you know, there's three things that come to mind for me. One starts with P. And the rest of those, there's some numbers, which were on the back of Mario Balotelli's shirt a few years ago. And I think that is how I feel about that. Well, thanks a lot for listening. Have a great rest of the day. And we'll see you after these fixed set of games. Adios.
Peace. See you there.